What's up, everyone? My name is Jason Brown, the king of programming, and I review big names in fitness training programs. If it's your first time here, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what it is I am looking at. If you've been here for a bit and you've seen past reviews, then this will be a review for you. So first thing that I start all of these videos with is telling you guys what I am looking at. How am I judging a program? Whether it is a good program, a great program, maybe it's in the middle of the road, maybe it's a terrible program. We've had a sliding scale thus far, and if you haven't seen any of the past videos, I recommend checking some of those out. But when I look at these programs, it is nothing about who the person is or their social media. It is about what I see on paper. And when I look at these programs, we see a day view and we go through usually an entire week. I don't do a ton of research beforehand, but sometimes I have a little bit more knowledge as to who the coach is just from my own interactions with them, or maybe I've seen their social media. But I am not going through all of the finite details as far as like who it's for. I am looking at the quality of the program. So I just want to make that very clear. When we think about programming, we think about the fundamentals like exercise selection, exercise order, sets, reps, and rest intervals, conditioning, various types of conditioning, where that fits in, what is the type of volume we're using per movement. So there's a lot of different nuances to programming. But overall, if we think about just the basic tenets of program design, then we can use that as our gauge to whether or not a session will go well and whether or not it is sustainable. A lot of times I see these programs are simply not sustainable. And when a coach doesn't have a background, and I'm not saying you need to have a degree in exercise science, you certainly do not. I see people that have no background as far as fitness in terms of actual education that are great programmers because they've spent time in the trenches learning, straining underweight, and that's giving them a lens that allows them to see really what is practical and what produces long-term results. So all of that is to be considered when we look at these programs. Now, today's review is Eric Hinman, and it's his hybrid athlete program. This is in the Playbook app, and there's a lot of programs in the Playbook app for those of you that don't know, so you can basically choose from a lot of programs, but this is in there. And the reason why I chose this program today is actually not from a recommendation. Most of you give us recommendations, which are great, we appreciate. This is one that I happen to just kind of stumble across, and I will say that I have seen Eric's social media. I think he seems to be a great guy. Again, nothing personal, but a lot of the stuff that he talks about is supporting your recovery through nutrition, through doing things like various type of things like cold plunging. Whether or not you agree with it, I don't care. That's not the point today. But he talks a lot about recovery, the aerobic system. And I have seen some things that don't align for me as a coach. And we're going to get into what his training looks like so we can see if what he's prescribing for people to do actually makes sense with everything that he pushes. So without further ado, we're gonna get into this. And one thing I want to let you guys know is that try to remember what we've done in the week. So we're gonna go through a day view, but try to remember what has come before that. When we think about programming, we need to think about, in this case, a week view. But in reality, if you're writing a program, you're a coach, we should be thinking about what we're doing in 3 to 4 week blocks and how that plays out across 8, 12, even further, 24, 52 weeks, how that programming is adjusted throughout the year. And there are, of course, a lot of different ways to do it that we could make its own video. But just for today, for the assessment of a week of programming, I want you to think about what has been done before each session. So our first day in this program is a squat day and fan bike anaerobic conditioning. Okay, so to me, that would signify a few different things, but let's get right into this session and see what we have. All right, so we're starting off with a warm-up, and I'm not assessing warm-ups, but there is a warm-up there, so that's a plus. And then we go into 4 sets of 10 front squat, and then we go into 4 sets of 3 pause front squat. Let's check out the rest interval. 75 seconds rest. Wrong, especially for 10 rep sets. Pause 3 rep sets. 81 seconds rest. I don't even know what that means, guys, but 81 seconds, why? So, first 2 movements of the day, rest intervals are completely wrong. He has a pause squat coming before a higher repetition front squat. I don't understand the logic of that. It makes no sense to me. In reality, we want to go the other way. We start off with our heavy pause squat, and then we can certainly add some volume. This isn't the way I would do it, but if you wanted to, you could go heavy squat for 4 sets of 3, rest 3 to 4 minutes between sets if it's heavy. Maybe it's building in weight. It doesn't say. Explode. Okay, so he says do them at 62% of your max. So maybe that's why the rest interval is so low. Odd though, guys. I don't know if I understand that. So then he's got front squat, 10 reps, and he wants you to use 60% of your 1 rep max, which for 40 total reps, definitely going to be a fair amount of volume. And then going into pause squats for more speed, if you will, which is kind of what he has it here. Again, there's some problems with that. And if I was just to restructure this, I wouldn't do it this way. I would do speed squats as its own thing, and then I would move on to my accessory work or even some assistance work for that squat pattern. So he essentially has higher rep squats at 60%, 75 seconds rest, nowhere near enough rest. So again, missed the boat there. Pause squat, 4 sets of 3 with more of a speed emphasis. Tell me how fast you're gonna be after doing 40 reps with 60%. Now 60% you might think, well, it's not that heavy, but it is for 40 reps, okay? So again, take into account someone's muscle fiber type. Someone that's super fast twitch is gonna struggle and is gonna be very much pre-fatigued. And then from there, we're going to kettlebell goblet squat, only 45 seconds rest for 3 sets of 20, so another 60 reps. Wall sit, 4 sets of 60 seconds, jump squat, 3 sets of 30, and then fan bike. Oh, geez. 6 sets of 20 calories. 90 seconds rest. Okay, guys, this is a really bad session for a lot of reasons. Let's just say for shits and giggles, let's restructure this where it makes more sense. I think this might help you understand how we can make this session substantially better. We do our pause front squat for speed, 60 to 65%, 4 sets of 3. I'd probably go higher, probably actually go 6 or 7 or 8 sets of 3. And I would rest 90 seconds to 2 minutes because it is a speed emphasis. So we're working different aspect of the force velocity curve. And if you have enough work capacity, you can certainly make that work. Now, for some people that don't, we might have to stretch that rest interval out, but obviously the end user, the individual, is gonna dictate how that goes. And for me personally, the people I work with, that could be something that could potentially work. Now from there, I would go with a unilateral movement. I don't see why we need more squatting. If you wanted to add more volume to the squat pattern, you could go with a front squat, and I would go probably 3 sets of 8 to 10. 4 sets is way too high, especially considering what else is happening in this day. So I would do our pause front squat, I would do unilateral work, and I'd probably actually do a hip hinge pattern after that, and then do some unilateral work. Wall sit, jump squat, get rid of that. That's just, again, filler and garbage. You don't really need it. Jump squat for 30 reps. I mean, Jesus, what are we doing here? And then 6 sets of 20 calories. 20 calories for the end user is gonna take way too long to be anaerobic, and you're gonna be anaerobic for the first couple, but as we stretch out over time and considering what we've already done, there's a better way to do this. And how I would do it is I would do 5 sets of 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Max effort, and I would rest for 90 seconds to 2 minutes. That's it. That is a squat day with some balance. We've got some hip hinge work. We've got some anaerobic work, and I'd probably do some core work in there. So we'd have, again, 4 to 6 total exercises, and it would be a much better session. So this day so far is not looking too good, Eric. I don't see anyone having any longevity with this type of programming. So let's exit. Let's check out day 2. Hopefully there's no more legs on day 2 because I don't know how anyone in their right mind would do that. So day 2, we've got an upper body push day. So we've got flat bench, 61 seconds rest, and I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. We've got ascending reps, or ascending weight rather, nowhere near enough rest. Like what are we gonna do with 60 seconds rest? That's like not even enough to change the weights. If you wanna go heavy, you need to rest. This isn't enough rest. Decline bench press, 61 seconds rest. I don't understand these arbitrary numbers either, guys. Like, let's not get too fancy. 60 seconds, number one, it's not enough. And 61 seconds, like, why? Chest fly, 45 seconds rest. Med ball push-up, 3 sets of 20, 66 seconds rest. I'm actually getting irritated right now just looking at this. Dips, 3 sets of 15, as if we haven't done enough pushing already. And then we've got a ski. So ski erg, which for those of you that don't, ski erg is a phenomenal piece of conditioning equipment. It involves extension, involves a fair amount of triceps, is a lot of hip hinging. So you've got obviously the trunk component to that. 35 calories for 4 rounds, and then 20 rep with a hand release push-up. So again, we're just adding insult to injury. This program so far is, if I had to turn off right now, I would say just run for the hills and don't do this program, because this is just gonna completely destroy people. Now, day 3, we are hitting deadlifts, midline. Midline is like sexy talk for doing core work. I don't love it. I think it's kind of like a buzz thing, but of course it is what it is. I don't really care about that. I care about what's here for training. So for those of you that just keep in mind what we did on Monday, we squatted to the limit. We did 6 sets of 20 calorie on the air bike with only 90 seconds rest. And 20 calories, just for reference, it's gonna be a sliding scale how long that takes someone, but someone like myself, that's, you know, a pretty strong guy, 20 calories at a very hard effort is going to be around 90 seconds to 2 minutes. And of course, someone that's lighter than me and not as strong, going to take longer than that. So again, anaerobic, we want to keep under a minute. And if we're repeating that, we're going to need much longer rest intervals, okay? So ideally, if it was going to be ATP PC, which is our highest power but highest fatigability system, we would want to be in the 10 to 15 seconds range, and even lower than that. You could probably go 7 to 15 seconds where we tap into pure power all the way up to capacity. And if we want a glycolytic system, we could go the same thing all the way up to capacity, power to capacity. So again, we're talking short bouts of work with long bouts of rest for it to be true anaerobic. Otherwise, we start dipping more into the aerobic system, and then the reliance on anaerobic versus aerobic starts to shift. Now, so again, we just did all that on Monday. We did a ton of work on Tuesday for the upper body. Now we've got deadlifts, conventional deadlift. You're building in weight with 90 seconds rest. Good luck with that, guys. Box jump, 12, 10, 8, 8, 8, 70 seconds rest. Again, order is completely off. Do the box jump before the deadlift. Why do it after? And then we're rowing for 6 sets of 20 calories with only 60 seconds rest. This guy basically doesn't know anything about programming. That's what we're seeing thus far. Assisted pull-ups, 5 sets of 12, so that's 60 reps with 75 seconds rest. And then a core EMOM. So get this, we've got hollow body hold for 4 sets of 30 seconds. We've got VEPs, 4 sets of 15. We've got a side plank hold, 30 seconds on each side. And then we got 30 seconds on each side, and that's for 4 rounds. And there's 0 seconds rest. Cool. All right, so let's move on, guys. Hopefully you're getting the gist of that. This program absolutely sucks, and no one should do it. But let's keep going. Okay, so this is a recovery day, which is great because I need recovery because I just died from the first 3 days of training. Hot and cold exposure. Hopefully that works for you. Hopefully you have hot and cold exposure. I don't have hot. I'm in New Hampshire. It's cold here. I've got cold, but what I would have done here is I would have done zone 2, steady state, cyclical, go easy for 30 to 60 minutes. But honestly, after that training, I don't know how I would do anything, to be honest. I would be so sore that I probably would just hate my life by that point. Okay, then we've got spin bike on, this is day 4, and it's aerobic cardio, and it's just spin bike. 45 minutes, and that's all it says. Doesn't tell me anything, doesn't tell me nothing. 45 minutes of spin bike. All right, so is that hard spin bike? Is that easy spin bike? Aerobic to me, because I'm a coach, would signify that we go easy. It's more conversational, but is it zone 2, zone 3, zone 1? I don't know. Yeah, and then we've got a shoulder pressing day, strength plus shoulders plus pressing plus strength plus conditioning. Yeah, okay. So strict press, 75 seconds rest. Shoulder press, 75 seconds rest. Z press, 45 seconds rest. Front raises, 45 seconds rest. Reverse flies, 45 seconds rest. And then a shoulder circuit. Because guys, our shoulders did not get enough stimulation with the first 5 exercises. We need 3 more to get where we want to be. All right, so, and then there's an active recovery day on Saturday. I guess this would be Saturday. And he does give you some options. Pickleball, long hike, bike ride, and then optional ice bath on day 7. So overall, guys, there are some things that, there are not some things I would change. This program I would throw in the trash. I wouldn't even try to make this better or try to make improvements here. You can't do anything with this. What I would do for someone that wants to train like this, and let's say you like more body part focus, you like feeling a pump, I would do your lower body day. We would squat. We would do 1 squat, 1 single leg, 1 hinge, a core movement. And then if you want some anaerobic work, do it like I said. Do 5 sets, 10 seconds all out on the bike, and then rest 90 seconds to 2 minutes. That's day 1. Day 2, we could go with upper body push-pull. Okay, so we would go a pushing exercise, a pulling exercise, a fair amount. I actually didn't see any pulling exercises in this entire program other than, wait, this can't be the case. I am gonna look. I saw assisted pull-ups. We've got 1 pulling activity, and it is a vertical pull using a band. So there's no pulling activities in this program. Like, are you serious? Like, I don't, this program is complete trash, guys. I hope no one does this program. And, you know, Eric, if you see this, I'm sorry, man. This program sucks. You should be not selling this to people. You're doing people a disservice. There is no direct glute work. There is no unilateral work. There is no upper back pulling horizontally. You've got just a lot of shit. You've got arbitrary rest intervals. I don't even know what this is, but I hope people aren't doing this. And It's sad that people probably are doing this because this program is going to tear people up and it's going to get them further away from their goals, and they're absolutely wasting their money even buying this program. So this program is an unequivocal rejected. Don't do this program. See you guys on the next review.
Best program available on the internet today.
I think it's very difficult to find a trainer like Jason.
Since joining Everyday Heroes, I feel like I've stopped working out and actually started training.